Hello, and welcome to another new tutorial, which is creating a hidden castle with Blender 2.8. So this tutorial was taken from, like, the reference I used for this tutorial was taken from the movie Stocks. So we are going to recreate everything with Blender 2.8. So after this hidden castle tutorial, my next tutorial I'll be uploading is, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, so that you will get it as soon as I drop it. Alright, so let's begin this tutorial. First, go ahead and download this starter file in the description. So I have a link in the description, so go ahead and download it. This is the wall settings, and these are just a simple settings I did for you guys. You see the castle, I have a shape key on it, so I'm able to control the height using the shape key. So go ahead and download it. The link is at the description. Just go ahead and download it, and let's be on the same page. Alright, so I'm having a bevel modifier on the castle to get the edges right. So when I disable it, this is what I'm getting, but when I enable it, I get this interesting look, and really save us a lot of time and memory without going to make any subdivisions to get this look. So with just the bevel modifier, we have interesting results, and there are materials assigned to it. So for the castle, we are through with it. So the next thing we are going to do is to create the rock beneath it. So we are going to use a sphere to do that. We are going to use a sphere. Alright, I'm going to scale that up on the z-axis. Again, the reference was taken from the movie Stocks. It was a scene I did like, so I just took the reference from there. We are going to reshape the sphere to get the exact look I'm looking for, and then use some modifiers to get an interesting shapes on it. Alright, so this is the shape we have now. So I'm going to add a subdivision modifier to smooth things out, and I'll then add a displacement modifier and choose coordinates, choose global for coordinates. I'm going to assign a cloud texture to it, and I'm going to switch the direction to Z, changing the strength to decrease the effect on the sphere. Back to the texture settings. So I'm trying to get some bricks on top of the sphere. Now it's a rock, so let's take it as a rock. So I'm trying to get some shapes on top of the rock, and by increasing the size of the texture, you end up getting something like this. So if you don't have a lot of subdivision, so this is the look you are getting for now. Still trying to get the look I'm looking for. So you can see with just the displacement modifier, we are able to create interesting results. Because the coordinate is global, moving it will change the the displacement based on the location and the scale. Alright, so we are setting up the camera, trying to get the angle from the reference. Alright, so still working on the camera to get a good angle for the scene or for rendering. We are going to work on the rock now. So I just thought of using an empty to control the displacement on the rock. So I have to decrease the value now to get a similar look I was having. Scaling this can even affect the scale or the displacement on the rock. So that's why we are getting so fine. I really like how the rock is showing under the castle. So you can see we are getting some weird effects here. So we have to make a group for the displacement so that that part which is not on the z-axis doesn't get affected by the displacement. These parts are getting affected by the displacement, which we don't want, so we are going to Alright, so I'm making it straight now, and you can see it has getting rid of some of those errors. It wasn't an error, it was a result, but it's an error for me because it's not something I want. So making it straight clears some of it because there is 0 on the z-axis. I've created a group because it was still causing these weird errors. So by assigning the group, some were able to fix. I'm creating another group. Alright, so now it's working alright. We're able to get rid of those we don't need. So we have copied the displacement and we are going to make some changes to this one to get another details on it. Alright, so we are changing the value for the cloud, and this what we are getting. Looking weird, but hopefully we are going to get a better results at the end. So I've made another copy of the displacement then. So you can see the effects both displacement are making. I just deleted one of them because I was getting a similar result from the other. So checking to see whether it's looking good inside the camera. Still working on the scale or the size. So this is the results we are getting from the displacement, and you can see I'm using just one displacement now. So I just added another one. This one will be used on the parts which were not affected by the first displacement. So trying to get interesting results by experimenting with the textures. I switch the space from normal to I switch the direction from normal to RGB to XYZ. So this is the results I'm getting, and it's looking very interesting. Actually, this is the first time I even use that option, and I was happy with the results it was giving me. You can see what it's doing here. So I was really amazed by the results it was giving me. So I just switched back to normal because it was my first time, so I didn't want to use it in a tutorial, but I just thought of using it because it was looking good, so I just thought of using it anyway. I really like the effect, how it's building up the rock. So remember, we can control the displacement with an empty, so you can play with the empty to get interesting results. So this is what we are getting now, and it's not bad. Although we are getting some overlaps, but we will fix it soon. Alright, so if you have been following my tutorials, you know I always duplicate my objects and create a new collection, then I put them inside for emergency reasons. So in case I end up destroying the one I was using, I just delete it and reuse the original one. So I'm using the sculpt mode, and I'm using the smooth brush to fix those errors. So now I have the modifiers applied, so I'm fixing the errors or the overlaps on the surface. By the help of the smooth brush, we are getting a very good result. I don't really prepare for my tutorials. I just open up my screen recording software and I just start doing it. I don't really prepare for it, so you might see a little repeating in my tutorials. Like I'll do something, I will undo it, then I might do it again. So I don't. The actually live recordings of or the live sections of me creating them, and I believe in that way I end up showing you guys all the tricks or what I went through for the creation of those videos or those scenes. So if you see me repeating a lot of stuff, just bear with me. I'm using an HDRI for the sky. So if yours is not working, I have a link in the description for the HDRI, so you can go ahead and download that and use it. Or if you have any interesting one, you can use that too. But I prefer we use the same images and the same objects so that we end up getting the same results. Then later on, during your free time, you can do your own experiment and get the results you want. And also this idea just came to me. You can send me your results after watching any tutorial I've made, and I'll be glad to take a look. You can go ahead and send me your results after watching a tutorial. All right, and it's likely I will preview it during the next tutorial and do a little discussion on the pictures you guys have sent me. So I'll really be waiting for the results you guys get from my tutorials. So I did a little changes on the camera, and that's why we are getting. For the camera, I'll be doing a lot of changes because adding new styles gives new idea and new angles, so I'll be changing it a lot. So this is what we are getting from the sky, and it's looking not bad. The sky is looking very wrong, but thankfully I've created a Procedure Sky shader for you guys, so we'll be using that in the either part 2 or part 3 of this tutorial. So I'll be leaving a link or the blend file for you guys. Alright, so for now we are going to use the background we have now. Okay. We are adding another sphere, and this is going to be the clouds. So this is going to be the interesting part. So the clouds, you are going to use 2 tricks to create it. One is the low res clouds, which most of you know, and the second one is the realistic clouds, which I haven't seen in any tutorial, so I just thought of sharing it. So for the first one, we are going to use displacement to get the clouds, and we add some nodes to make it look like a cloud. But the second one, we are going to use what the results we had on the first one to get the second one. Alright, so you can see we are using the displacement to reshape the sphere to get a cloudy look. Alright, so this is going to be interesting, and I'm very glad that I'm sharing this trick, and I know most of you are going to use it to create a very cool and nice cloud scenes. So So this is the first cloud we have created, and we are trying to get something not bad looking. So we are changing the scale and the strength. The level for the viewport is 4. Working on the scale to get in something interesting, and trying to get some details, extra details on the surface too. So by increasing the depth, we end up getting some interesting results. So again, this is the first trick, which is very common. Most of you don't know, but we have to go through the first trick to create the second trick. So by even the first trick, I added some tricks which it wasn't even shown in some tutorials I've seen on YouTube. So you will still learn something from the first trick. You can see I'm using global for the coordinates so that they all the clouds will get some random shapes in the future. So working on it again. I don't really prepare for my tutorial, so I just keep on testing stuffs. I'm just trying to get a very cool results for you guys, so I just keep on tweaking some settings to get the results, which will not be a time waste. So I just move to edit mode and I'm duplicating the sphere. So by doing this, the modifiers will act on all the duplicates have made. So you can see the results we are getting now. Alright, so making some duplicates to get different shapes. Alright, so playing with the size to get some random shapes on the cloud. So I just created a collection and we are going to use particle system to populate these clouds on the bigger cloud. So I'm using the collections we created from the smaller clouds, and I have decreased the scale to make it bigger on the surface. I have increased the scale to make it bigger on the surface. Alright, so that's what we are getting so far. So by using the scale and scaling the main cloud, we will end up getting a very different or interesting results. So now I'm adding some randomness to it to get some random shapes on the cloud. So we can even make some changes here, and it's going to appear on the bigger cloud. So I just increased the viewport level to 2, but it will end up slowing up the viewport. So for now, let's maintain that, but it's likely I will turn that up, turn that down later on. So all the 3 clouds are now at the level 2 on the viewport. So by the way, I'm using a reference. So I'm using the scene I took from the movie stocks. So I have that open on another screen. So I'm actually watching it to get the results I want. So I just duplicated it and I'm creating another cloud with it. So now, because every every displacement modifier is on the global coordinates, we are getting some random results or variations based on the positions of the clouds. So this one is going to be behind the castle. Changing the seed to get something interesting. So again, I'm using a reference. That's why I'm always changing the settings to get what I'm seeing in the reference. Alright, so there's a part I won't be talking much because it's really about arrangement. So I'm just rearranging the clouds to get a very interesting look. So I won't be talking much, but I'll still be here with you guys. Alright. So by rotating the cloud, I'm getting some interesting results from it. So I'll continue to do that to get the look I want. Alright, so still working on the rotation. So in the scene we are having three big clouds. So we have the one behind the castle, the one at the right side of the camera, and the one in the middle. So now I'm changing the settings of the one in the middle. So I'm changing the seed. Alright, so I think one is looking good. So we are going to maintain one for the seed, and this is the results we are getting so far. So you can see we are getting a very interesting look by this first trick. We are getting nice cloud shapes from the displacement and other settings we have made on the particle system. I'm still working on the clouds to get extra results. So alright, so now I'm changing the seed to get different results. And I'll move the cursor a little up too, because when I move the cloud down, it will change the shape of the cloud. So I have to move the rock and the castle. So this is the results we are getting. I'm smoothing the smaller clouds. All right, so this is the end of part 1. So we will continue from part 2. Okay, so go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment if you have any, and just support me by subscribing.